Hello everybody, I'm Ben Reviewer, and welcome back to another review. During my last review, I discussed the Cartoon Network remakes, and just how awful they are. But, this might surprise you. Not all remakes are bad. In fact, Disney XD got it right on their first time. Where the Cartoon Network ones failed, Ducktales actually got it right. As in, Ducktales, while different, still follows the original show's spirit. The original show revolutionized TV animation, as in it proved that it can be profitable without a toy line. This change paved the way for animation as we know it today. It was popular then, and it still holds up. When it was first announced that they'd be making a remake of DuckTales, people were excited, but nervous. You see, so many failed remakes had come out on Cartoon Network, that people were wondering whether Disney would be any different at all, or if they would just make so many changes that it gets inherently worse. Now, to be fair, this judgment is not misplaced. From the trailers alone, it looked like it's going to be very different. Mostly because the artistic stylings was different, and it seems like they're going different directions with the characters. And they did. They did go different directions with the characters. I actually really like where they went with it, though. I talked enough about the Cartoon Network remakes last week, and I really do not want to talk about them anymore. However, it is important to talk about them in order to understand the context of this show and why it's so great. So, I kind of have to. Since 2012, Cartoon Network has released 4 remakes. Be Cool Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls 2016, and Ben 10 2017. They were all terrible. And they were all terrible in their own way. Teen Titans Go was a complete insult to the original, and turned what was a plot-driven show into a pure comedy with bad jokes. Powerpuff Girls 2016 made several changes that, in hindsight, didn't make sense, but they didn't want to be politically correct. Be Cool Scooby-Doo was boring and had terrible character designs, and Ben 10 is just obnoxious. These issues made it so that when Disney XD announced that they'd make a new remake, people got very nervous. But that's enough history. Let's go ahead and get right into the episode, The Impossible Summit of Mount Neverest. I don't even know what I do anymore.
Mount Neverest, the highest peak in the world, most prized of the 7 summits. Neverest has claimed the world's finest explorers. It is said to be completely unclimbable. But now that smug stack of stalagmite...
The episode begins with perhaps one of the best beginnings I've ever seen in the show. Okay, maybe not the best, but it does everything it needs to do right and gets out a couple of jokes as well. First of all, for what it does right, is it gets out all the information it needs to get out. It explains to you what the mountain is, why it's important, and this is something that is very easily missed in the beginning of an episode, of explaining why this episode is beginning, like why they're about to go do this. I mean, sure, it can be good without necessarily explaining that, but getting that explanation makes it 10 times better. So, let's just go ahead and see what the rest of the episode... Nope, not today. No, I will not have that song put in my head again. I've been humming it all freaking week, and I'm not going to hum it anymore. Dang it!
Legend has it that Mallory made it farther up the mountain than anyone, but was lost trying to rescue an incompetent fellow climber.
The episode gives off this backstory about a guy named Mallory who went up farther than anyone else. And it's a very decent backstory. The interesting part comes with the Neverest Ninny, as everyone calls him. And we'll get more into that as the plot goes on. However, the other thing I'm not going to show you because it doesn't really, I don't have all day, is there is a side plot in this episode that is hilarious. Launchpad McQuack ends up believing in something called ice fever because a con man essentially tells him that he needs all this gear to protect him from it. And ultimately... he starts running to areas where it's like warm, like a sauna and a hot tub, and he's like, oh no, this is the ice fever. It makes you feel warm when you're really not. And it's like, It's freaking hilarious. I mean, in general, Launchpad McQuack is just a freaking hilarious character. And this episode in particular does great with him. And that's a huge thing with the show itself, is it is funny. There is a lot of good comedy in the new DuckTales. I mean, I can barely just think about the episode without laughing. I bear before you the board of plot. Essentially just a whiteboard where I wrote important stuff. Okay, first of all, we got the A plot and the B plot on this side. Okay, for startup, the plot of each one intermingles. They do kind of go hand in hand, and then the A plot kicks into the B plot. Launchpad wants to deal with ice fever because he wants to climb the mountain successfully. Dewey is in the B plot because he didn't want to go to the A plot. And essentially, that they do intermingle, so they are connected. This is essentially an easy way for me to describe the plot so I can get more into what I like and what I dislike about the actual episode. This might be a one-time thing, it'll depend on how I like it. So, we're just going to go ahead and go through this a little bit. Starting on the A plot. Its setting is the mountain, and then we got the main point of the A plot. They're trying to climb the mountain. Their desires are in the bottom category here. Scrooge wants to beat Mallory. Huey, get Cartology badge. Louie and Webby want to go sledding from the peak of the mountain. In the B plot, we got Launchpad, Dewey, and a con man. The setting is in a mountain base. They want to deal with ice fever as the main plot. Launchpad, he wants to survive ice fever. Dewey wants to beat the con man for conning Launchpad, and the con man wants to make money off of Launchpad and the other people. So this is essentially just a simple way of breaking down what the plots are. That way I don't have to spend too much time actually describing what happens in the episode. Anyway, well, with that out of the way, let's move on. Because I want this review to be shorter than the actual episode, I'm just going to start briefly covering the rest of the plot. It's revealed that Scrooge is actually the Neverest ninny, and that he had been so overprepared that Mallory cut him short in order to be able to make it up a large hill. Well, I mean, more of a cliff, really, but who cares? Either way, that's why Scrooge wants to make it up. And in the end, they don't do it because there's portals that prevent anything from getting to the surface or to the peak. And in the end, the Huey, the red one, ends up convincing him that sometimes the bravest thing an explorer can do is turn away. And that will be the ending moral. In the B plot, it ends up getting wrapped up by them pretty much making the con man say that ice fever doesn't actually exist. This episode does a lot of things right. It's got a fun plot, a creative premise, everything about it is original and yet retro. It's got the good stylized animation, and it's got good character development. It's got everything you'd ever want in a show. And it's not the odd one out. I picked this episode because it was the newest. I've seen all of them. They are all like this. They are all this good. And for this to be in a remake, something that has a very bad reputation nowadays, but let's be honest. Part of the reason everyone does love this show is because of the Teen Titans Go. Because of Powerpuff Girls 2016. Because of all the Cartoon Network remakes. Don't get me wrong. I love the show. And I think it's phenomenal. However, there's no denying that the fact that it's actually a good remake helped people think that it is one of the greatest shows on right now. And while I do think that's a fair judgment, that it is one of the best shows on right now, it does help that it is the odd one out in a genre that is mostly putting out crap. As for the show itself, it is everything you'd want a remake to be. And I know everyone said this about the show, but it combines the old styles of the old show and combines it with new styles. Like the new adventures of the other Disney XD shows that people love, like Gravity Falls and Star Wars Forces of Evil. And I mean, I know I almost just directly quoted Nostalgia Critic's review of this show there, but that's the thing, is everything he said was right. Personally, though, I think he didn't give this show enough credit. This is one of the best shows I've ever seen. And for that to be coming out of a remake of a show that I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes of, it's just amazing. Cartoon Network, take notes.